evening, good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening. It's your man God Dots back with another episode of the Audible. First of all, let me just say this. I apologize for being late. You guys know if you've been watching my shows, I pride myself on being punctual as hell. Just had some technical difficulties, storms in the area, Wi-Fi acting kind of funny. Yes. Yeah, you know Dr. Nick, I like to be punctual as hell when I'm doing my shows. But hey, we're here. We're here. I think that was a Philadelphia hater. Mess with my internet service. It is what it is. See, Gator Girl already came down here and dropped in her pre-hate. That's all fine and dandy. Like I said, hope everybody's had a good day. Happy Thursday to everybody. Just one more day. Tomorrow, make sure you tune in. I'm thinking about moving the show to 7:30, 7:45-ish. Because I want to have enough time to prepare for the other round, because I have some stuff in store for that one. But tomorrow we'll be doing racism in sports, having an open panel discussion on that. Those that are interested. If not, it's just be me rocking out on the microphone as usual. Let me kind of get this out the way. All right. Like I said, housekeeping stuff. Next week will be AFC East, breaking down that division, much like the NFC East, one of the better divisions in football. Very interesting when you look at the team, some of the upgrades that were made, some of the decisions that were made. We'll talk about it. Also, with the season kickoff for college football being, I want to say the first games are August 26th. Not this weekend, but maybe next weekend. We can look to do our college football special. We kind of look at some of the top teams, top players going into the season, some of the top storylines. With me, it's always roll tide, roll goddamn tide. But we here tonight, to finish up the NFC East. We started out the week talking about the Washington Commanders, moved on to the New York Giants yesterday, focusing on the division, the defending NFC champion, Philadelphia Eagles. And I told you today I will be giving you my pick for the division. It may not be what you think it is, but it may be. But we're going to wrap it up tonight talking about them boys. I'm kind of zoomed in. I got my cups of water, got my snacks. It's going to be a good preview. Last time we saw the Dallas Cowboys, didn't go out in the fashion that, as a fan, that I wanted them to go out in, especially with some of the play calling. And we're going to kind of get some of that out of the way first and foremost. Goodbye, Kellen Moore. Goodbye, Kellen Moore. You will not be missed. You will not be missed. My only gripe is I wish that it took Mike McCarthy with you, but as it stands, Mike McCarthy is still the head coach, and as of now, he will be taking over play calling duties. It can't be much worse than what I saw final play of the San Francisco game in the playoffs. Can't be much worse than that. I would hope not. But when we look at the Dallas Cowboys, there were some big moves that were made, some additions that were made, and some subtraction that were made. But it's always, when we're talking about these NFL teams, most important position on the field is quarterback. And I'm going to say this for the record. Yeah, I am a fan, but I like to be honest and truthful with my critique and analysis of what I'm seeing. I was not satisfied with the performance last year of Dak Prescott, and I will not make any excuses for his poor performance last year. Led the NFL in interception, and this is coming off the fact that you even missed 5 games. In those 5 games, Cooper Rush, backup quarterback, does what any backup quarterback is trained to do: keep the offense somewhat on track, don't make mistakes, and allow the playmakers to make plays. But when we're talking about Dak Prescott, Dak, got the money. You fussed, you fought, you clawed, you scraped, you got the money. I'm not begrudging you for getting it. But you gotta understand, when you get the money of a top tier quarterback, certain expectations come along with that. You're going to see that same critique being leveled against Daniel Jones with him getting paid this offseason. Dak didn't live up to expectations based on the salary that you make now. I like Dak as a quarterback. Dak has not always shown himself to be dependable when it matters most. And when I'm talking about matters most is to my late game, late in the season. When we're talking about playoffs, you've left much to be desired. There's always been talent in Dallas, and it's going to be another talented team that they roll out this year. Like I said, we got some key additions to the team, and we got some key subtractions. And how key are those subtractions? We'll live to see. We'll live to see. But when we're talking about Dallas Cowboy, like I said, it begins and ends with that Prescott. You got the money. Now they've got you weapons, we'll get into the weapons a little bit later. But I'm expecting Dak to play a whole lot better. He's come out on record saying playing a whole lot. He can't play a whole lot worse than he played last year. I mean, leading the league in interceptions. But like I said, I'm hoping for a better performance. Maybe it was the play calling to Kellen Moore. I'm not going to put it all on Kellen, but you know, I'm a fan. I'm a fan. And it's hard sometimes. It's hard. Especially when I'm sitting in this chair on this microphone, having to do these critiques and analyst roasts is hard. But I expect, excuse me, I expect that to come out, play a whole lot better this year. And one of the reasons I expect him to play a whole lot better this upcoming season is we were talking about some of the moves that were made in the offseason. Bringing in wide receiver Brandon Cooks. Brandon Cooks has been a very solid wide receiver for each team he's played for since he's been in the league, primarily with the Patriots. I know he had a season or two in New Orleans and most notably with the Houston Texans. Bringing him in, very cost-effective move as far as I'm concerned, to get a player of that caliber for a trash. I'm not going to say a trash pick because that pick may turn out to be somebody someday. But for the most part, a trash pick, you only gave up a 6th rounder and a 5th rounder. So, I mean, to get a guy still, producing at a high level and has played with some substandard quarterbacks in his time, especially with Houston, getting Brandon Cooks, bringing him in is a big boost to the offensive weaponry that they're able to roll out. I'm curious to see what kind of scheme Mike McCarthy is going to be running. Is it going to be more of a pass-happy team, or is it still going to be a little bit of both as far as the balance is concerned? But I like the wide receiver core. You have Brandon Cooks, who's proven he can be a number one in this league. You have CeeDee Lamb, who is proven also to be a number one. So you have two guys on the outside who can take advantage of single coverage. And then you have Michael Gallup. Michael Gallup, to me, is the X factor when we're talking about that wide receiver core for the Cowboys. Has worked his way back from injury, returned last season, but didn't look all the way back to 100%. Michael Gallup has the opportunity to really blossom in this situation. I expect Gallup to line up on the outside. I expect Brandon Cooks to line up in the slot. But I think Gallup, with another offseason behind him from the injury, I think he comes out gangbusters with a top 3 like that. One of the better receiving groups when you look at them as far as production and talent wise. One of the best receiving groups in the NFL, let alone the division. Questions you got to have about the offense. Is Tony Pollard all the way back? Tony Pollard signed franchise tags, more than happy to take the money. Hey, I get it. It was a serious bump in pay. I don't begrudge him for taking it. But is he all the way back? I'm curious to see what he looks like on the field. I do like them drafting Deuce Vaughn, running back. I forgot. I want to say, was it Oklahoma State? But don't get me. No, it was Kansas State. I think it was Kansas State. But bringing in Deuce Vaughn, bringing in Ronald Jones, having that mixture behind Tony Pollard. Tony Pollard proved last year that he deserved to be a starting caliber running back. And when we're talking about running back with the Dallas Cowboys for the last 4 to 5 years, the talk has always been Zeke. Right now, Zeke is a free agent. He's out there quietly shopping his services. If I'm not mistaken, he had a meeting with the New England Patriots. Patriots said, "No, we good. Thanks for coming in." Jerry Jones has not ruled out the fact that they may bring back Zeke if it's an option for the team. But Zeke has seen his best days, and This kind of segues back to conversations we've been having on the show when we're talking about the running back position. Hey, you guys, get your money, because these teams will run you in the ground. And the Cowboys, um, I have seen it happen time after time after time. We'll run a running back um, into the ground. We gonna squeeze you for everything that you were. And if you're a running back in this league, get paid. Zeke got paid, but eventually his body broke down, production level went down. Just wasn't the same running back that he's been in since he came into the league. Will this motivate him? Will this, we find new life with a new team, or find new life back with the Cowboys? I don't know. I wouldn't be opposed um, to bringing Zeke back in some form or fashion. Zeke is still a good short yardage back. Zeke is still very good at pass protection. But Tony Pollard deserves and has earned the spot to be the starter for this team. When you look at the pieces that the Cowboys, traditionally have, they always, look good on paper, but you got to go out there and produce. One of the key moves that I think a lot of people didn't, really pay attention to was the fact that they had to let tight end Dalton Schultz go. Schultz has been a very good tight end with this team, but it became, kind of a money thing. It became a money thing when you acquire the kind of talent the Cowboys has, and this goes for any team that considers themselves to be upper echelon and are really running organizations geared towards Super Bowl or bust. Sometimes you got to make money decisions. Sometimes you have to make money decisions. I do like Jake Ferguson, the starter right now, but I do like the rookie that they drafted. I do like Luke Schoonmaker. I think he's going to be able to get a lot of reps. He's very much of a pass catching tight end. So, in those two tight end sets, I think he's going to get opportunities, especially if Dak is serious about not turning over the ball. Zach historically has shown a lot of love to his tight end position. So I think the rookie has a opportunity to make some plays. And then also you still have Peyton Hendershot, who showed flashes last year of not necessarily being a starting level tight end, but being a tight end that can contribute. But when we're talking about the offense, Dak is the name that rings bells, but the Dallas Cowboys historically have always rolled out one of the better offensive lines. Question marks along the offensive line. I'm not liking them. I'm not liking them. One is Zach Martin situation as far as his contract. I know he's trying to get a restructure on his deal, get him more money. Zach Martin, the best guard in the NFL, deserves to get paid. But when we're talking about guys getting paid, it's a lot of guys that got to get paid, man. It's a lot of guys, and sometimes with certain positions, you gotta drop the value based on where you got other pieces you got to get paid. CD has to get paid. They got to save money for Micah. They just paid Trayvon. Some other players on this team that in another year or two you're going to have to kind of spend a little paper to keep in house. But I do like when they're healthy. I do like when, like I said, keyword, when they're healthy. And when we're talking about health, I'm looking at left tackle Tyron Smith specifically. Going down in history as one of the best left tackles in football, period. But injury has really killed his back end of his career, especially the last 2 to 3 seasons. This can't stay healthy. I know Terrence Steele, the right tackle, is coming off of an injury. What is he going to look like? Is he going to be ready to go for a full season? I do like left guard Tyler Smith. I do like the center position. I think we're kind of solid right there. But the key word is being health. Because when you look at the backups, I'm not blown away by the backups. I thought Dallas should have spent a little bit more money, or maybe a little bit more attention to addressing the offensive line in situations they could. But I thought they would, at least spend a draft pick on offense. I think the offensive line position was for this past draft class was fairly deep. You can find some solid players. I thought they would have spent a little bit of money there, but hey, I guess you're banking on the guys that you already got in house being healthy. We'll see. We shall see. Um, I think they'll be okay offensively, but where they made their bread and butter last year wasn't necessarily on the offensive end, even though they have a lot of high end talent on that side of the ball. The defensive side of the ball got a little bit better, but we're gonna break it down each level of the defense. When you have Michael Parsons finally said, "Hey, he's going to be moved to edge rusher. We're not going to keep trying to make him a hybrid type linebacker. Let him put his hand in the dirt and go get the quarterback." You still have Demarcus Lawrence. You do have also Sam Williams. And I know a lot of people, if you didn't watch Ole Miss football, wasn't really familiar with him, rookie last year. I expect him to increase his level of production of freak athlete at the position, but it's kind of hard to get into the rotation when you have D Law on one side and Parsons on the other. They still have Dante Fowler in house. Did bring in Tack McKinley, and how much playing time he's going to get. I mean, some talent there as a former first round pick. Will he be able to kind of get into the mix on the outside? The middle of the defensive line is the question mark for me. This is the reason why they went out and drafted the big defensive tackle out of Michigan, Mozzie Smith. You brought in, Hankins. You've been bringing in pieces. The defensive line primarily was very good at pass rush. Was kind of suspect when he came to run defense. Will they be, with the additional Mozzie Smith? And I expect Mozzie Smith, out of reports I'm seeing out of camp, I expect him to be the starter, be one of the starters. They got some guys there that can play, but they're not very run defense type focus on the defensive tackle. I think that's going to be a problem going forward. Like, we're able to get after the quarterback. Was one of the better pass rushing teams in the league last year as far as sack totals, but we kind of middle of the road, kind of iffy when we're talking about that run defense. Now the linebacker core, now with Michael Parsons being officially moved down to edge rusher, we got to look at the linebacker core. Leighton Vander Esch, I like him, gets injured. Jabril Cox, former linebacker out of LSU, I like him. History of injury. I do like the other linebacker that they drafted, Overshawn. Very athletic linebacker, very quick, and very fast. More of a coverage type linebacker, but could be used in some blitz packages. Overall, if the linebacker core can stay healthy, you have guys that can move, that can cover a lot of ground. Question is, can they stay healthy? Van Der Esch, like I said, a history of injury. Jabril Cox has had a history of injury since he's been in the league. But when they're healthy, pretty good linebackers. Don't have to do too much. Just needs you to really kind of play, focus in on coverage, covering tight ends, running backs out of the backfield. They're not asking the linebackers, especially with the rotation that they have on the perimeter, on the edge. They're really not asking the linebackers to blitz that often, but can you stay healthy? Another big addition that was made this offseason. How you doing, Miss Murph? Gator. Another big addition that was made on the defensive side of the ball, bringing in cornerback Stephon Gilmore from the Indianapolis Colts. Had a very good year last year. Traditionally has been one of the better man type cornerbacks in this league. Bring him over for pretty much I don't want to call the pick trash, but when you get a player of that talent for what you essentially gave up, I mean, you're talking about nothing, a 5th round pick. He's still is coming off a very solid season. Couple of seasons with the Indianapolis Colts showed he could still play. Is up there in age. But with the defense, being able to get after the pass rush, we're not asking him to hold up forever in man coverage. And we're not asking, Gilmore, even though he has his credentials to be a lockdown number 1 corner, that's not going to be his role. But when pressed, he could play that role. Trayvon Diggs just got paid. One of the better cornerbacks as far as coverage is concerned. Questions I have about Diggs is not can he cover, is how much is he going to gamble? Sometimes he gambles and he gambles. A lot of times he kind of gambles at the wrong time for me, especially when the situation doesn't really call for it. Um, he's a very instinctive type cornerback, but sometimes he gambles wrong. But nevertheless, when he's on the money, he's on the money. Um, but I like the combination of them. I like the cornerback room a lot better as far as the depth is concerned. With guys getting hurt last year, injuries kind of forced guys into situations and forced us to kind of look at other pieces. We was kind of like get to the point we was bringing guys off the street to play the cornerback position. We really addressed that this off season. Jordan Lewis will be returning. And when he's healthy, can be a very solid number two, but won't be asked to be a number two. And with the defensive setup, I do like Deron Bland. I like how he played last year, being pressed in as a young cornerback. Um, Transitioning from I want to say he played safety in college, but being transitioned to a cornerback because the team needed him to. I like what I saw from him last year. Wasn't always great, but considering the circumstances, I think he did a very good job. Kelvin Joseph, another guy who came in and played fairly nice at the cornerback position. Overall, this has got to be one of the deepest positions on this team. And way that how the NFL is kind of set up, your defense needs to be two things. You need to be able to kind of get after the quarterback, and you need to be able to cover. That's why teams like Dallas had success last year. Teams like San Francisco had success last year. Teams like Philadelphia had success last year. You're able to get after the quarterback, and you're able to hold up in coverage when the pass rush doesn't always get there. You have a dominant pass rush, and you have a pretty solid secondary. You can do some things. Your defense can keep you in a lot of games. We saw how well the defense played during the Cooper Rush 5-game stint. With the pressure being on them to kind of carry the load, they showed that they could carry that load against the odds. The safety position, I kind of like Malik Hooker. I kind of like Donovan Wilson. I don't love him. But I think if we're able to, I would say this: Jordan Lewis and Deron Bland are going to be the keys for me. I think if we're struggling at safety, I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if they kind of move Gilmore since he's getting up there in age. I wouldn't be surprised if they kind of move Gilmore into a free safety type position, depending on the situation. We have athletes at that cornerback position, but like I said, I like Hooker. I like Wilson. I don't love them. I'm a fan, but I'm be honest about it. How you doing, beautiful? Found me in the corpse. Oh yeah, I did tell you over here. Yes. In reference to your question, beautiful. You got to let me know which email are you trying to get, the corporate email, or are you trying to get the other email? Just let me know. Yeah, I don't love my safeties. I like my safeties. And expectations for my team, I expect the Dallas Cowboys to be once again in the hunt for best record in the conference. I think this is all a big if, and it's a lot of ifs when you kind of look at all these teams. The fewer ifs you have, the better I think your team's going to perform. Do I have them going a blow for blow with Philadelphia as far as talent? In certain positions, I do. Certain positions, I don't. I like Philadelphia's defensive tackle room a lot better than I like ours, but I like my edge room. My edge rusher is a lot better than Philadelphia. And when we're talking about this division, no offense to the Washington Commanders, no offense to the New York Giants, but it's either the boys or the Eagles. It's the boys or the Eagles. Now, do I make Do I make my pick for the division winner based on my heart or my head? Because if I'm breaking it down, if you listen to yesterday's show, I gave a lot of love to the Philadelphia Eagles, though it hurt. It burned my soul. It burned my soul to the core to have to talk so glowingly about them. But it is what it is. I can't deny. Um, I can't deny what they have in place in Philadelphia, but also at the same time, if I'm looking at the Cowboys objectively, I mean, I don't think Dak could be worse than he was last year. Now, can Dak get back to what he was a couple of seasons ago? Yeah, I believe so. He's come out and said, he's not going to lead the league in interceptions. I tend to believe him. I was like, he can't play as bad as he did last year. I mean, can't be that bad. I mean, he can't play it that bad. He doesn't have a history of playing that bad. So I'm encouraged by Dak. I'm curious to see what a Tony Pollard led run game looks like. Like I said, I do like the drafting of Deuce Vaughn. I think that is he's a very underrated player. If you didn't really watch the highlights of him, you didn't really get into like the pre-draft stuff like I was doing. He was a very good running back, and running back was a very deep position. As far as depth was concerned, I like that. I do like Brandon Cooks. You know, I think Cooks, could eventually slot down to the number 3 role within this offense. But Cooks has shown he could be a number 1 receiver in this league. I think the long-term plan is to kind of get CD Lamb solidified some more as a top tier number 1. I think Michael Gallup, when he's healthy, has shown he could be a very strong number 2. But we'll see how they kind of figure it out. Right now, it's kind of looking like Brandon Cooks, CD Lamb, and Gallup. Maybe not in that particular order, but those are the top 3 options. Don't have a lot of guys right now signed to the wide receiver position, but we'll see. But do I make my is this your year or not? I got to pick. I'm gonna go Cowboys. God damn it, I'm gonna go Cowboys. I think it comes down to the final few weeks of the season when we're talking about this division as far as how it plays out. It doesn't, the NFC East overall have some of the have the hard, in my opinion, have the hardest schedules coming out the gate this upcoming season. I think Dak comes in a little bit motivated. People are doubting him. I mean, it's questions, but I gotta pick boys. I think with Philadelphia losing the offensive coordinator, I think they come back just a little bit to the pack. I think teams are going to be really gunning for them more so than the boys. We'll see. 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 I like the defense just as much as I like Philadelphia. I mean, it's close. Do I think Dallas is going to run away with the division? No. I roll with the AP. Go Eagles. I figured you like that selection, Miss Murphy, as far as the Eagles are concerned. But this is one of the better divisions, I think. In my humble opinion, when I look at this division, I think whoever comes out of this division will be battle tested. I think whoever comes out of this division will represent the NFC in the Super Bowl. I really believe that, mainly because the quarterback situations are a lot better in Dallas. A quarterback situation is a lot better in Philadelphia than it is right now in San Francisco. And when we get to the 49ers, whatever, it won't be next week, but maybe the week after that, when we get to talk about the 49ers, quarterback position is probably the biggest what if with this team. I mean, you literally could, see 3 guys battling for the starting position. You really could see 3 guys battling for the starting position. But I think whoever comes out of the NFC East, whether it be Eagles or the boys. And I think the Giants, with the right breaks, could possibly make the playoffs. I think Washington, with the right breaks, could possibly make the playoffs. They have bigger question marks than the top two teams in this division, but I think whoever comes out of this division, to me, is going to be the clear favorite to make it to the Super Bowl. I'm just going to leave it at that, and I wouldn't be surprised whether Philadelphia or Dallas wins this division. I wouldn't be surprised if we see um, this fight go three rounds this time. I think we might see a matchup in the playoffs between these two teams. I wouldn't be I wouldn't be averse to it. I want to beat the best. I want that. But right now, when I'm looking at the teams, and if I'm just going to take it on, just if healthy, if healthy, who comes out on top. And I think the boys come out on top. Like I like Philadelphia. I mean, it's like nitpicking when you talk about Philadelphia and Dallas. When you're looking at the talent that's on the field, yeah, Philadelphia has good corners. But we're bringing in Stephon Gilmore. We're able to match them. Their safety positions are kind of, ours are kind of. They're able to get after the quarterback. We're able to get after the quarterback. I mean, it's a lot of things that both teams do well, and they have a good offensive line. We have a good offensive line. I think they're stronger at the tight end position, but I think we're a little bit better at the running back position. And is Hurts going to play out of his mind, like he did last year? Are we going to get another MVP caliber performance from Jalen without Shane Steichen calling the plays? I don't know. Like I said, that can't be much worse than he was last year. But it's like it's nitpicking. You're really nitpicking when you're breaking down this division as far as like the top two, and you're going to see when we get to talking about the AFC East next week. I could make I could make a case. I really could make a case for three teams possibly winning that division. I think who comes out of the AFC East is going to be a representative in the championship game. Maybe. It wouldn't surprise me. But we'll talk about that next week. Housekeeping stuff. Hey, it's all, remember, like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Appreciate everybody for taking the time to tune in to little old me. Sorry for the delay this evening. I know I started late. Y'all know I hate. I am always trying to be punctual as hell when I'm setting up stuff, but had some technical difficulties. Some Philadelphia fan didn't want me to be great today. Didn't want me to kind of get out this long ass show. But it wasn't as long as I thought it was going to be. It wasn't that bad, y'all. It wasn't that bad. Once we get down to the final teams, I'll kind of give you my breakdown, who I got going to the playoffs, and we'll kind of go from that. And I get my picks out before season kickoff. I know people like Gator Girl will hold me to them. Sometimes my picks are right, sometimes they're wrong, but I live with my picks. Also, like I said, next weekend I'm gonna try to do college football preview. The season starts, I'll say August 26th. First couple games come out. So I kind of get the preview for that. As always, it's a pleasure to get up here on this microphone, and thank you for tuning in to little old me, to little old me. Like Nick said, next week AFC East. If you got a division you want me to do that I haven't already done, just let me know in the comments, and I'll roll that out. We're gonna get everybody. Even if your team is trash and garbage, I will spend my hard-earned time looking at your team and really breaking it down and giving you my fair assessment of that. But before I end off the show, it's only right, since I picked my team, let me end off with we end off with this. How about them goddamn Cowboys? Okay. Feel a lot better now. Feel a lot better. End y'all off over here with the phrase that pays over here. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose, but every time you learn. And I'm out.